The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Does Eliotte Friedman hate the Vancouver Canucks? There's a good goddamn chance of it. More on that next year on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, your co-host here on Locked On Canucks, and also a part-time credentialed media member over at Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into today's episode, we got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And I also gotta say, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go subscribe or follow for free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. One guy who I don't think follows us, Kyle, is Eliotte Friedman, so I'm not sure if he's gonna listen to this episode, but we got to talk about him because I think this guy hates the Vancouver Canucks. We're going to talk about the two big stories that this guy broke: the Pettersson contract situation, and most recently, earlier today, Conor Garland's trade request. But first and foremost, let me introduce my co-host, someone who has not requested a trade from Locked On Canucks just yet. Kyle Bowen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, and how are you doing, man? It looks like you're being held hostage somewhere in the East Coast of Canada. I don't know if the viewers want a quick view of my background, but I'm literally I'm recording in a weight room right now. Oh, sick,
It's
dude.
just the only free room in the house.
There you go, man. The lake house vibes. I like it. And I'm happy to be doing this, man, on the eve of another Canucks season. And boom, Eliotte Friedman just had to do that over the last 48 hours. Just tell us a couple of things. Like, why not wait till Saturday, the first hockey night of Canada, to report those two things? Just do it. Let us be a little bit relaxed and be at ease and have some sureness or more sureness about this organization and the players wanting to stay put, okay? In what, 48 hours? The Pettersson thing. Did the Canucks even want to sign this guy? I'm paraphrasing, but, that's the energy that, the fans took it as, and now we have this Garland thing. I will say, though, people have been jumping to conclusions, okay, about the Pettersson thing. Like, maybe the Canucks also don't want to sign him. I think what he was trying to get at was maybe Pettersson gave him a number, like, I deserve 11.5 over 8 years. And Canucks are like, sure you do, but can you do it again? Can you do last year again? Then we'll give you the money. You get what I'm saying? And we'll get into it now. But that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah. I hope it's that simple. And you're right, let's dive into Pettersson first, talk about Garland in our second segment, and then end on Komment Korner. It's going to be the most positive part of the show, I'm sure, Komment Korner, even if it's a negative comment, because Eliotte Friedman, again, raining on the Canucks parade. I mean, this franchise, man, again, just to have an overarching statement here, this franchise can't seem to escape October without some kind of controversy, right? And we're talking about controversy, and the puck hasn't even dropped yet. Heck, on the episode by myself yesterday, I was talking about how it's another frustrating start to the season, just based on kind of the mediocre offense in preseason, the shoddy defense, the Mikheyev situation. There's a number of things to be. And Zach Benson, we talked about that earlier this week. There's a lot of reasons to be frustrated as a Canuck fan, and this isn't even touching on the whole Pettersson Garland thing. So. I know Zach Benson. I'll move the shoulders for Zach Benson, even though it's negative. Okay, go check out that episode, baby. I'm seeing the views climb on that one as this guy's making the NHL to start training camp. But I'm telling you, man, it's painful being a Canucks fan, and we're here to get it off our chest. Hopefully, the listener, you out there, you share in the misery with us, because Canuck fans, we got to stick together through this. With Elias Pettersson, I know Kyle predicted that Pettersson's going to have an MVP season and then leave. That was in our bold predictions episode. Maybe not so bold.
I predicted
anymore,
but I took
Kyle.
it back. I said it. I was being depressed because I've been hanging out with you like every single day, and you kind of, put the spell over me that things are going to go to ish, but I took it back over the weekend, okay? The weekend episodes, I was being more positive, and I said, it'll be all good.
Vibes only?
Positive vibes only, okay? Look, this whole Pettersson thing is just, it's bizarre. This whole Garland thing now is bizarre. This whole week has been bizarre. The preseason, for real, we're taking the little victories, like the little victories. Our little victories were Cole McWard and Jack Stanika, both in the minors. You get what I'm saying? We also had, again, Zach Benson, look way better than anyone thought right away. Just, and then Podkolzin look, and now we have this. Oh, man, can this team just win games? Just to calm the storm, because the storm is already brewing. And like you said, the games haven't even started yet. The games haven't even started yet. And I know you were about to touch more on Pettersson, and I cut you off. I'm just aggravated, okay? I'm a little annoyed. Because, again, the games haven't started, and all this jazz has already started, and my head hurts. And can we just pray for a minute, man, please? I know, man. The world is in need of so many prayers and prayers for more important things. But, man, oh, man, the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, man, just for real. Just calm down. Can we just win games and relax a bit? You get what I'm saying, Trevor? Not really, I know, because I'm all over the place, but this is definitely a conundrum.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think, in a sport like hockey, it is a risk to bet on yourself and say, hey, I don't want to discuss contract until the season's done. It leaves the fans stressed out. It probably leaves the Canucks stressed out to a certain extent. But we've seen it before in sports, right? I mean, I'll throw out Aaron Judge in baseball again, not as physical of a sport, not as much injury risk, but obviously Aaron Judge and Elias Pettersson, I think, are two guys who have immense confidence in themselves. And we saw with Aaron Judge, right? Aaron Judge went off and had an amazing season and just had that massive contract from the Yankees. So, I think a player of Pettersson's caliber, it's like, yeah, of course, why not bet on yourself? Now, I know Pettersson and Matthews were kind of the two marquee guys, Aho as well. And now we see Aho signed, we see Matthews signed. I think with Pettersson, it's a bit different. I think every situation is a bit unique, okay? I think with Matthews, Matthews already knew he was going to get a raise off of, 11.6, right? So it just depends how the negotiation went. And, at 13 plus million, it's like hard to argue he's overpaid, but he's also the highest paid player in the NHL by, almost $1 million. Now with Sebastian Aho, he plays for a Carolina Hurricanes team that everyone's taking less, right? They're a Stanley Cup contender. He knows he's only going to get a certain amount of dollars. So are you really going to negotiate throughout the year? Because I think Carolina would walk away at a certain point. With the Canucks, I don't think the Canucks are in a position to be able to walk away from Pettersson. But I also think Pettersson is in a situation where he doesn't have to jump into anything. He can afford to go bet on himself. So, I think it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day a bit and to get stressed out about this. But at the end of the day, it's, again, if we haven't even played a game yet, okay?
I know.
Elliott Friedman, but it's all good.
Dude, Elliott Friedman, what you got against us, bro? And keep in mind, I listen to Elliott Friedman every week, twice a week. I'm back on that hockey addiction, right? And he's the guy. I think he's great for the game, one of the best for the game. He wants the game to open up to everyone, and he does so by, saying it every week on the podcast and also just performing well. He's that guy. He's that guy. And he's been that guy for multiple decades. So salute to Elliott Friedman. But again, why not just give us a break and wait till Saturday on the main table? You get what I'm saying, bro? Just relax. And then he just puts this out there and lets us, let's again, this side of the world just overthink. Because at the end of the day, Trevor, I'm going to slow things down. I'm going to relax. It's not the worst thing in the world that maybe the Canucks did say, hey, we're going to wait. We're going to wait before we actually commit all these dollars to you. Okay, maybe you want this much, but you just surpassed 80 points for what? The first time last year? You get what I'm saying? Let me just see it again. And maybe that's a good thing for the Vancouver Canucks to have their best player bank on themselves. Because when Pettersson excels, I know we didn't see it last year, but we're hoping that equates to more W's. So the best out of Pettersson and encouraging this guy to even bring more to the table because now he has to sign a new deal. Maybe it's some sort of psychology that they're playing. And they're hoping that it does motivate Pettersson to take it to a level that they didn't even know was possible. And that, again, equates to this team finding success because there's that quote, right? Winning fixes everything. There's a lot of everything with the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of everything. And maybe they need some superhero type of performance out of Pettersson that, again, we weren't expecting. Maybe they weren't expecting 115 points, win the Selke, do something crazy. So, again, this team can be put on the map because I'm sick and tired of these weird games, bro. And, these moments where we're questioning everything. Just everything. Everything. Because then you got people talking about, what if the Canucks actually let go of Pettersson if they don't respect the franchise cornerstone? Dude, you think Alvin and Rutherford, who spent years and years and years winning cups with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, don't understand the importance of superstars? They know it more than anyone. But again, maybe they're just playing this card. Like, yo, maybe we shouldn't hand Pettersson the check yet. He's got 1 year left. He's an RFA. Let him do something. Let him bank on himself. Let him prove the point, and then we'll give him the blank check.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And I think from the Canucks perspective as well, I think that story is a bit overblown. Like, oh, maybe they want to wait. Like, what do you want? What news do you want the Canucks to come out? Like, oh, we're going to do anything to sign this guy. Like, do you want the Canucks putting all their cards on the table? Like, it is a bit of a game of poker negotiating, a contract that could push $100 million. So, I think we're probably freaking out a bit about it too much. And if Elliot Friedman is listening, we don't actually. We don't personally hate you, even if you hate the Vancouver Canucks, okay? One guy who might hate the Vancouver Canucks, though, is Conor Garland, because this guy has reportedly requested a trade out of town. We're going to give you our take on that developing news on the other side. But first, I got to say, have you ever been stressed out by buying tickets at the last minute? Because I'm a big last minute deals guy, and I found that the best place for killer deals at the last minute is Game Time. Game Time, they got my back. I get these emails from Nicole at Game Time, and she's always teasing me with concerts and events this week in my area. Not only are those weekly emails a tease, but Game Time also offers me flash deals on last-minute tickets. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Now, I have no choice but to get off my skinny, hairy rear end and go check out a local show on a Friday night. So make sure you snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed.
People, before we get back to the show, baby, I gotta tell you that new episodes of Locked On Canucks will be available wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all, okay? New episodes every day at 4:20 p.m. Again, wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube. Let's get back to the show. Okay, you're back on Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bowen, more importantly, Trevor Beggs, okay? Doing everything for the people today, because if you don't know this, I gotta let you know. He's got babies crying in the background. Potentially, he may now have an angry wife. And this guy's putting it all on the line to talk Canucks. And I don't think he'd be doing this because he's such a family-first guy. I don't think he'd be doing this if, again, Elliot Friedman just shut up. If he just shut up for a little bit, If he calmed down, he would have said, yo, Kyle, I think you got to take this episode over, okay? I'll be back on Wednesday. It's all good. Just talk about what everyone else is talking about. It'll be fine. But Elliot Friedman had to open up his mouth, and now Trevor Beggs has an angry family. So what do you have to say to Elliot Friedman? I'll bleep it out right now, man.
Elliot Friedman, you mother... I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Elliot Friedman is one of the best in the game, man. I got no hate for that guy, even if he hates the Vancouver Canucks, In terms of the Garland trade request, I'm curious to see where this goes because, we saw this before with a pricey winger in Vancouver, Brock Besser. He requested a trade last year. They couldn't find a dance partner. Then he rescinded his trade request. If I'm Conor Garland, though, I kind of get it because this guy's got top 6 talent. And no matter there's been a ton of turnover since Conor Garland's come to this team, and he's still playing on the third line. I know he got his one preseason game with Kuzmenko and Pettersson. Kuzmenko and Pettersson, but this guy's mainly been a third line player for the Canucks, even though he's a top 6 talent. So I don't know. It's a confusing situation, and I know it's interesting because I think everyone's already connecting these dots, but there was a report today that Columbus, the Blue Jackets, are trying to shop a defenseman.
Yeah.
And now everyone's saying, Garland for Andrew Peeke, right? Andrew Peeke, 25-year-old right shot defenseman, $2.75 million cap hit. Terrible analytics, defensive defenseman, but I think the analytics are enhanced by the fact that he plays for a pretty bad Columbus team. So,
whoa, I just don't want anyone. I don't want anyone coming this way who has terrible analytics. Even though I'm not the fancy stat type of dude, just don't associate terrible with any type of acquisition coming this way. It's just the truth. But I'll say this too, Beggsy, I saw that tweet today coming out of somewhere. again, regarding Columbus potentially wanting to trade a defenseman, blah, blah, blah. And then you just mentioned a name that you've mentioned in the past. Coming to the Canucks.
Yeah.
Peak.
Yeah, Andrew Peak. And I think, he was a target, I think, probably back in June as well, after Columbus traded for and signed both Ivan Provorov and Demon Severson. Like, everyone could kind of see it coming. Like, they have a lot of young defensemen, and they have more coming up in the pipeline. I think I mentioned Denton Matachuk before. I think they got Corson Kuhlman's there as well, another younger right shot defenseman who's yet to crack the NHL. So Columbus, I mean, they might be, they were one of the saddest teams in the NHL last season, but, they do have a lot of young defensemen on their team. And I just don't know if Garland's necessarily the fit. I mean, they already got, other small wingers, right? It's like there might be too many small wingers in the game. I think the Canucks probably have too many small wingers with Höglander, Beauvillier, and Garland on the team. But you look at Columbus too, and it's like Ken Johnson's in that organization, Jack Roslovic, Johnny Gaudreau. Like, you already have a good number of small forwards there. Do they really want a guy like Garland as well? But, maybe if they're serious about making some noise next season, maybe that is something they consider, like a Garland for Peak trade. But I don't see it happening.
Me too.
I'm curious though, man. Like, what are your thoughts on the Canucks trading Garland? I think we've touched on it a few times over the summer, but as of right now, after hearing this news, where do you stand on the Canucks potentially trading Garland?
Well, I feel as if they got to hold off on that. And Garland is a really interesting player because I think centermen like Pettersson and Miller, who are, the top two centermen on this team, for them to mesh well with a guy like Garland, I feel like you need to give the trio that now Garland would be a part of a long leash, because he's a very unorthodox player. And I think that may create some, or a lack of chemistry early on in the beginning of, again, that trio's start together. But once Pettersson, because he's a cerebral guy, maybe not as much with Miller, but a guy like Pettersson, once he kind of understands and reads Garland 5-on-5, and just by playing him more, I think he'll understand how to use him. Because again, Garland is very unorthodox. He's just a different guy. He's also a guy who likes to have the puck on his stick too. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's been a hard thing to do when it comes to finding a match for that guy. That being said, bro, they never really had, I know they had Miller, Horvat, and Pettersson, but there's never really been, again, a long leash, a long tenure of a consistent centerman or any type of line mate with this guy. And going into this season, it was kind of exciting to see him play with somebody consistently. That guy could have been Pius Suter. And I was curious to see it. But going back to your question, though, it's like, don't you think that, again, the Canucks have that hole at D? Don't you think it's best to maybe prompt this guy up, pad the stats, and then fill the void up and not sell him for a penny? Because you and I and other people can see that he can be an asset for a really good team when he's going. He's a good player. He's a difference maker in his own accord, in his own way. And I feel as if the Canucks need to ship him and get a D back when he's playing, again, at the top of his game. Because that D position, look at what we're going into the season with right now. Even without the Soucy injury, it was still a question mark in training camp. And they need to fill up a spot. And I just don't feel as if trading Garland for a guy like you mentioned, maybe Andrew Peak or someone amongst those lines, like a struggling D-man in another organization, is not the move. It's not the move, because what are you doing? You're going to acquire another, a bad player in return? What good is that going to do for you?
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to what we said at the top of the show, right? Winning fixes everything.
Yeah,
it might fix his trade request, right? It might mean that he doesn't want to leave anymore. It also might mean you can get more for him if you want to trade him.
Dude,
but
winning.
The Canucks continue to struggle, and they're dealing from a position of weakness. You're not trading a 5'8" winger for a top 4 defenseman. Like, that's just not happening.
Bro.
Even if they start winning, that's going to be hard to do. But at least if they're winning and Garland's a part of that success, maybe it's at least a conversation. But right now, I mean, I feel like it's very similar to the Brock Besser situation. It's like, sure, yeah, go find a team that wants to take on your contract at fair value. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, it's just that, man.
I think Elliott Friedman stirring the pot, man. This trade's not going to transpire. Elliott Friedman just comes in and he just starts stirring the pot. Okay,
Trevor,
puck hasn't even dropped on hockey in Vancouver, man.
Can you just do it for the people? I know you're such an honest, again, genuine person. There's nobody like you in the world. You keep it real all the time, but can you just put the mask on for a bit? I'm going to put some prayer music on in the back. Again, a little inappropriate, but I'm just looking out for my people. A little West Coast bias here on the program. How does this team win games right away with all this mess and also not having the deepest of rosters. Just put it together, okay? Let's say the Canucks start the season 4-1. That calms things down. It fixes a lot of the noise, and they can, follow the runway of confidence. How do they do it early on this season?
Well, you mentioned that word confidence, and I think, the star players got to lead by example, and that confidence that the star players play with, it's got to rub off on the rest of the team, okay? It's not going to be like a Vegas Golden Knights, but it could be similar to an Edmonton Oilers, right? Edmonton Oilers got two of the best players in the NHL. But again, those guys are both forwards, right? I mean, if the Canucks, if Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko can all be, the best players of their position in the league or in that conversation, then that's going to have a trickle-down effect on the rest of the team. So I'm telling you, it's October 10th right now. I'm still holding out hope for this team, but again, a lot of losing has worn me down, and I'm sure it's worn you down as well. But there's still reasons to believe, okay? So let's just believe, Canucks Nation, because anything can happen.
Man, oh man. Sorry, I got a text message. Oh man, I'm just stressing out right now. Life is crazy. So many meetings, and damn, bro. Elliott Friedman, bro. I just needed an answer, bro. I need an answer. I think a new episode of 33 Thoughts is coming out on Friday. I just need an answer on why you couldn't wait till Saturday, okay? I know reporters, they want to be the first to say it, and it's part of their job, but come on, man. Look out for us. Just let us relax a bit. Wait till Saturday. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just relax a little bit, and maybe we can relax here on the final segment with Komment Korner. But before we do that, Kyle, I know another reason why you're not relaxed today, because your Green Bay Packers lost last night to the Las Vegas Raiders. Bum, 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 bum. Leave the room for a second while I shout out FanDuel, okay? If you're betting on the Packers or the Raiders or any NFL team, make sure you do so on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. How's that even possible, man? Make sure you go find out on FanDuel. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than now. The app, it's so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, overs, unders, and more. Last week I talked about the Thursday night game. I said that with the Chicago Bears, don't bet on a bad team. I was wrong. The Chicago Bears kicked some ass, but I'm going to stick by that advice. If the Denver Broncos, I don't care if it's a 20-point spread, I'd be betting on the Chiefs to cover. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, make sure you go place that bet on FanDuel and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. That's a drop.
Dude, I need to make some love right now, man. I'm stressed out. I need some of that, what do they call it? Sexual therapy, right? Is that what they call it? Have you ever heard about that?
Sexual healing.
There you go.
Sexual therapy.
Sexual healing, not sexual therapy. Anyways, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs.
You made it sound like a doctor's office there for a second.
Hey, man. It's somewhere for sure. Okay, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every day. Subscribe, hit the like button. If you did enjoy today's episode, that has been all over the place. It's one thing to start doing these episodes again in the beginning of the week when Trevor and I have kind of been all over the place over the last couple of days, and then when Elliott Friedman again, who I'm blaming for everything, man, everything. He just, honestly, I'm not even going to go there, man. I'm not going to go there, man. You got to be accountable, okay? And look at yourself in the mirror, and Elliott Friedman is not the reason why this episode kind of went off the rails. It's not. It's on me. Anywho, where am I going with this? I don't know. Beggsy, how you doing, okay? Just shut me up. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good, man. Like I cooked a turkey stuffing. I basically cooked the main part of Thanksgiving dinner for like 15 in-laws last night. So today I'm kind of taking the day off. That's why I got some time here for you on Locked On Canucks.
Again, you got a lot of things going on behind you. I can hear the family just crying. Okay, but
this is my day off.
I want to touch on that. Okay, I know we got Komment Korner, but I want to touch on that. You cooked for 15 people yesterday, who happen to be, your family now, but your wife's family. Did you feel the pressure? Are you just always that jolly guy? And how do you even do your measurements? Because cooking for 4 people, that's like the max for me, and I can kill it. But 15, that's different, bro.
Yeah, you know what, man? I've had practice, and I know you've been there before. Like back home, we used to do Friendsgiving, right?
Ooh,
Like
buddy,
invite a bunch of friends over.
you guys kill it.
Everyone brings a dish. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty used to cooking turkeys. I've been cooking turkeys probably since 2015 now. So to me, it's no big deal, man. No big deal. Happy to feed.
Dude, man, come on, man. We were talking about sexual healing, bro. Come on, man. The key to a girl's heart is a good turkey, man. A good family man. A good family man. For real, man. That's straight up, man. Survival instincts, man.
Beggs' word of advice: you got to bone while the turkey's cooking, because afterwards you're too sleepy for that.
You got to put the bone in before the what? The bone,
yeah, exactly.
The
yeah, family program. Put the bone in.
What?
Bone in turkey. Anyway, Komment Korner.
Okay, Komment Korner.
What's coming on Komment Korner today?
Yeah, let's just run Komment Korner right now.
Welcome to Komment Korner, powered by Paraphrasing.
This comment comes from R.J. Morgan.
I for one am confident in the Vancouver Penguins and the Pittsburgh Canucks. Love what Alvin and Rutherford are doing.
Okay. The Penguins. The Vancouver Penguins. The Pittsburgh Canucks. We touched on this a little earlier, and I know we don't have Evgeny Malkin or Sidney Crosby or Chris Letang or Mario Lemieux or Ron Francis or Jaromir Jagr or Marc-Andre Fleury as members of the Canucks. We have all the other guys. Well, all of like the bottom guys on the program.
Like Johan Hedberg.
Yeah. Okay. I know we don't have those guys, but since you and I did talk about Pettersson and the contract and whatnot, and how I alluded to Alvin and Rutherford being around, the biggest superstars in the game, I don't know, saying that out loud, I didn't know I was going to say it. It kind of brings me more at peace with the negotiations between Pettersson and Vancouver, eventually leading to a long-term deal. Because if there's anyone, again, who understands the importance of superstars and winning cups because of superstars, it's those guys. Because keep in mind, bro, these guys, like Malcolm was injured a lot. These guys won a cup without Letang. Like, they know the importance of having top end, like the 1% of player on their roster. Like, that can equate to doing the most, supplying confidence throughout your whole lineup, elevating the depth, elevating the floor. Only certain players can do that, and I'm pretty sure these guys know, and they just want to see it for one more year that Pettersson is that guy.
Star power matters more than depth in today's NHL, and that's not to say that depth doesn't matter. It's the teams who have the right mix of star power and good depth are the teams that win cups. But star power is extremely important in today's NHL, and a guy like Rutherford, who's been in management since before the dawn of time, he understands that. So again, Pettersson's contract conundrum, I think it's been blown up because of Elliott Friedman.
Oh man,
shout out Elliott Friedman, good guy.
Bro.
But it's been blown in proportion a bit, right? And the season hasn't even started yet, but it's just the fact that Pettersson is an important player, and it is probably the biggest question facing the Canucks this season, because of course there's a world where it goes south, and then you really start asking the question.
Bro.
But again, we're not even one game into the season, okay? And I'm just not prepared to really start worrying about this just yet.
Yeah, but Elliott Friedman is. Come on, bro. Like,
Elliott Friedman's just trying to say it is the best in the game. That's why he could have waited. But when you got that scoop, you got to pounce on it, man. Even if you're Elliott Friedman, you're at the top of your game.
But
that's how he stays at the top of his game, Kyle.
Was it a scoop or was it just a hunch? I don't even know, man. This dude,
he's a very well connected guy from everything I gather. So I think he's probably got someone on the inside, but okay. I haven't necessarily heard the clip.
It's like, why are you saying it though? Just like, how we broke it down? It's like, yo, the Canucks are not sure on Pettersson, whatever. Okay, that's not the most complicated thing to say. It's pretty obvious that a lot of teams would be like, okay, you want this much. We're sure you're that guy, but you've only done it once. Can you do it again? Then we'll give you the blank check. Like, it's kind of, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of a smart way to move. And instinctively, like, trying to motivate internally to make sure you get the most optimal results, aka, Pettersson, don't give him the check yet. Let this guy rip it up again and help us win games this time. Boom, bam. Let's get some confidence. Anyways, Elliott Friedman, I swear to you, I got a couple meetings today, and if I don't know these people I'm meeting up with, but let's say one of them happened to be named Elliott, not only am I getting up and walking away from that table, I'm throwing a plate at the guy's face, okay? Leave my city alone, just for a bit. I love you, though, but just for a bit.
Yeah, leave the city alone, but don't leave us alone here on Locked On Canucks because we appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to each and every episode. And hey, if you're an occasional listener, that's okay too. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome. Okay, welcome to the Locked On Canucks family, baby. I gotta say, despite all the negativity, I'm stoked. There's one more sleep until the regular season starts. The game's gonna start at 10 p.m. over here for me on the East Coast. Kids, everyone's in bed. It's just gonna be me watching these Canucks play their first game of the season, winning their first game of the season against the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to touch on that. We're going to talk about Canucks under pressure, maybe some X factors, and of course, we're going to dig into all the news, trades, rumors here on Locked On Canucks. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.